All right. Well, we're going live right now. We had a technical difficulty just a few minutes ago. It wasn't broadcasting to Facebook, but Kate should be on in just a minute. I just sent her the new link. So thank you guys for tuning in again this Thursday. I'm really, really excited to have Katie on here. I've known her for a very long time, and her bakery is phenomenal, which we'll get into a little bit more later. But I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you're enjoying the nice weather out here in Las Vegas. If you're in Las Vegas, it's finally reaching those triple digits, which I don't know is a blessing or a curse. Normally, my family and I, we love it when it gets warm because it's finally time for us to be able to. Hold on one second. My Roomba has decided to kick on. You know, that's the wonderful thing about working from home. You gotta love that, right? So I was saying, we love it when it gets warm because we are able to go to the lake. And oh, Katie is here. Hold on one second.
Hi.
Hey, Kate.
Hi.
Okay. So, and we are finally on all of Facebook and everything. It's all good.
Perfect. I can hear you and we're ready to go.
We'll give them a few minutes for everyone to join, but I was talking about the weather and how I love it when it gets to the triple digits typically because we can go to the lake, but that's not the case right now.
Oh, I know. And I'm telling you, what was it? Yesterday, we were in the backyard and I'm not even kidding. Millie was in her little pool and I went in the little pool.
I remember
with
doing
her.
that when Turtle was little. It was
Yeah.
glorious.
For sure.
So, yeah, and then my Roomba kicked on before you came on, so I had to get off and go turn that off really quick. All these wonderful things working from home.
Right. It's happening to all of us.
Yes. So, just real quick, I was telling them I've known you for a very long time. I'm trying to think, you had just graduated, right? When I first met you?
Oh gosh. I would say probably.
But yeah, I think
Probably.
that's what I was thinking. I think you had just graduated not long after. So it's been a while.
Yeah, so I graduated college in December of 2008. Don't do the math. So
Yep.
it's a long time
So
ago.
yeah, so it's been a little while.
Yeah.
And it was before you and Uche were married, and obviously before
Yes.
Millie. And
Yes.
yes, it was good times, good times. And
Right.
back before Cupcates was really even like official yet.
Yeah, definitely. We were still, commercial kitchen and just
Mhm.
delivering to everybody for free just to get this stuff out there. So that was,
Yeah, so
a while ago.
kind of cool. Well,
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and get started. That way we can kind of keep to our time schedule and be mindful of your time because I know
Okay.
that your time is important. But I always start by reading the bio for those that don't know you and don't know what Cupcakes is, so they have a little bit of an idea. And I just want everyone to know before I read your bio, I don't know if you can see, I have extra glitter eyeshadow on today just for you.
Oh my, well,
Extra
listen, if it
sparkles.
doesn't sparkle, it doesn't matter.
That's
Doesn't
right.
matter.
So, everybody, this is Kate. Hold on, I have to look at her name to make sure I pronounce it right. Anyanwu.
Yes, ma'am, you got it.
And before she was married, it was Kate Thompson. So it
Right.
was really easy. So this is Kate, and in a world and city where children are forced to grow up way too fast, Kate Anyanwu set out to create an environment where little girls could come and be just that, little girls. Kate loves everything princess, sparkly, pink, and delicious. That's my kind of girl. Thus, Cupcates was born. Cupcates is a bakery and tea room designed for little princes and princes. Whether you'd like a three-course tea party hosted by a princess, a themed kids' coffee with a matching treat, a custom cake, or just a simple sparkly cupcake, Kate has got you covered. Kate lives by the saying, if it doesn't sparkle, it doesn't matter. And that's how she runs her life and her business. So everyone, please meet Kate.
Hello.
And I don't know, a lot of my friends on Facebook know you or know of you. Actually, I was delivering some of your goodies to one of my offices, and I just asked for some sugar cookies. And I don't say just some sugar cookies because they're the best sugar cookies.
Oh, thank you.
And everyone was like, oh my gosh, these are so good. And one of the girls in the office said, who did these? Because I'm having butterflies for my wedding. And I said, oh, well, and there was butterflies in there. And she's like, these are exactly what I need. I said, don't worry.
Oh,
I'll
good.
give your information to Kate, or, put you guys in touch. She's like, I have to have these.
Oh, great. Well,
So
thank you.
it was the perfect combination because of the sparkle, and they were delicious and everything. So every time
Oh,
I take your treats anywhere, people rave about them.
well,
And it doesn't
thank
matter
you.
if it's the giant cupcake Kate, or if it's the cookies or the ring pops. You're always coming up with new and creative ideas, and I don't know how you continue to come up with them, but you're just amazing.
Well,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. But first, tell us a little bit about your family, because when I put out the ad, you said I don't do headshots. So I said, well, give me a family picture, because I know that your family is super important to you, and you have the most beautiful family. You and Uche
Oh,
and Millie are just a striking, and your dog's Eva, right?
yes. She's the
So
star.
yeah, she is the star. I remember before Millie, like Eva was everywhere.
Oh, yes.
So tell us a little bit about your family. Let us know why Cupcates is important to you, because it's obviously how you guys support your family in some fashion, right? I mean,
Yes,
I know Uche
definitely.
works, but
Yeah.
so tell us about you guys.
Yeah. So, Uche and I met at Nevada when we were in college, and we actually met. Oh my gosh, I think the second day of
At
school, and
UNR?
at UNR, and I went up there pretty much by myself. So he was one of my first friends that I made, and we were friends for our entire freshman year. And then we actually started dating our sophomore year of college, and then we've been together ever since. He's definitely the yang to my yang, because I'm super like type A, over the top, crazy, as you know, and my husband is like chill and
Oh,
great.
okay.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Can you see
That's
me?
okay. Yep, we can see you.
Okay. So he's just a great, yang to my
Balance.
yang. And Millie came thereafter. I shouldn't skip too far. We got Eva about 4 weeks before we graduated from college. And she's been with us ever since. Now she's going to be, gosh, I think 14 years
Oh,
old. Yeah. And, she's the best. And then we got married to 2016, 10, 15, 16, because that was my grandmother's birthday. And
oh,
Millie came that following September, and then here we are.
yes. So, and Uche, I know my son just thinks that
Oh,
Uche walks
for
on
some reason,
water.
I can't. Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear.
You can't hear
Let me
me?
see. Audio.
You're on mute now.
It says that I can't hear you, but you can hear me, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's weird.
Hold on. Oh, good old, you gotta love technology, you guys, right? Especially when it's live. I think she's gonna join back in. There you are. Can you hear us
Oh my
now?
gosh. Yeah, that was so weird. It just went like I had nothing in my earphones, but now we're good. I
Okay.
can hear you. Okay. So
So I
sorry
was
about that.
saying that my son thinks that like Uche walks on water. If Uche comments on a post of his on Instagram, he's like, Mom, did you know Uche commented?
Oh,
So
that's so
Uche is like a
funny.
celebrity in his eyes.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my
So
gosh. That's
so you
awesome. I
guys
have to
are
tell him.
you guys are a big deal. Your family is a big deal to us.
Oh,
And
well,
then
thank you.
Millie, I have to say, is the best behaved, most polite little girl I have ever met. And Turtle was talking about her the other day. He goes, Mom, who's the girl that was at Ashley's house going, Turtle, Turtle? I go, that's Millie. He goes, I need to see her.
Oh, yeah, she remembers. She loves turtle. It's so funny because she's only 2.5, and sometimes I forget
But
that
she's
she's
like a
just two and a
5-year-old.
half. And that's why I forget that she's just 2.5. So when she pops off with some of this stuff, I'm like, ooh, girl. And then I remember she's 2, give her some leeway. But she's definitely just like any kid. She's so great in public. And then with me, she's like cray
Of
cray.
course,
Yeah.
they all are.
Right.
Okay. Um, so now that we know a little bit about you and how you and Uche met, and Millie and Eva, how was Cupcates born, and where when and where did you get the idea, and what gave you the guts to actually do it? Because all of us have these great ideas, and or at least I do. I come up with ideas every day and I don't
Sure.
ever follow through or implement, and they're just, I call them my bathroom ideas. Some of my greatest
Right.
ideas come in the bathroom while I'm
Right.
showering, but I
Sure.
never follow through. So what gave you the idea? Where did it come from, and how did you actually like execute?
So it's so funny when we went to UNR, and so my aunt Michelle, she lives in Roanoke Park, Northern California, which is about a 2.5 hour to 3 hour drive from Reno. So we would always, like, on weekends, just drive up to see her. And we were up there one weekend, and she took me into this little bakery, and I was like, this is so cute, but I know I could do this so much better. Like, I
Uh-huh.
just know I could. Just because I feel like if you're going to do something, you have to do it 100% and put everything into it. And I didn't see that. But I always liked baking, as I had still, when I think when I was still believing in Santa, I got a pink KitchenAid. So it's like I always liked that part. So I went, and then right when I got home, back to Reno, I started just writing down recipes and practicing. And then every Thursday night, I would make Uche and his teammates, if they had a home game, cupcakes for them to take to the hotel, and just to get their input, even though, hungry football players will eat anything and say it's good.
They're
But,
like, it's great.
right. So I just started that way. So I knew before I graduated that this is what I wanted to do. I just didn't quite know how to do it. You definitely have to teach yourself, because college is great for growing up. And if you're going to be a doctor or something like that, or a teacher. But if you get a business degree, like, and I'm not taking away from it because I'm so thankful that I did, you still don't really know how to open up your own business.
Yeah.
You have to learn on as you go. And I had my dad had just recently gotten laid off in, a career in construction for years and years. So it was like we both were at, like, this kind of crossroads where we came together and figured it out together on our own. And so I just, from the developing the recipes in college to then getting my license and finding a commercial kitchen, because I'm thinking, oh, I can just cook out of my house and whoop-de-doo, I'm fine.
Oh,
No.
that's not legal.
Yeah, right. And so I had to find a kitchen, which led to health department, which led to having city license, which led on and on and on and on. But now I'm a pro, so I know what to do. But it went from that to, I would do a lot of things for charities, because, we started as a faith-based business, and that's what I am. So I started just, donating to just any sort of charity that was having an event. And that was the best thing I ever did, because I was doing an event for Shade Tree, and I met the PR director for Neiman Marcus, and I had on the full get up with, like, the pink dress and the apron, and she just was like all over it. So she started hiring me to do events at Neiman's, and I would do cupcakes, which then I met lots of moms, and it just kind of went from there. So it was just kind of women supporting women when I
Hmm.
was first starting, which has led me to where I am today, for sure.
That's that's awesome. And I love to hear that you started by basically doing it for free.
Oh yeah,
And it's a lot
100%.
of giving it out, but it always comes back. I'm a firm
Definitely.
believer in that. Like, if you do something out of the goodness of your heart, obviously you were looking for it to lead somewhere else, but you never could have imagined that it would have led to that.
Oh, 100%. And I also think it was just the right timing, because I was able, right after I graduated, I was lucky enough to be able to move back in with my parents, which I had to do for an extended period of
And
time.
you loved every second of
I
it.
did. No, 100%. But I started my life a little bit later, because I put everything into starting my business.
Yeah.
So, whether it was, buying our house or getting married or having our first kid, we did it a little bit later, because I 100% gave everything.
I remember
into
having
it.
those conversations. I'm like, dude, when are you and Uche going to get married? Like, you
Right,
guys have been together forever. And you said, we really just want to have the business fully established. And
right,
you guys were 100% all in on Cupcates
right.
and making sure that it was a success before you, like you said, before you got married, before you bought a house, before you did all those things. And most
Definitely.
people, I think, do it backwards, or, they get married and then they start a business. And sometimes that doesn't always work out the best. I
Oh,
think 'cause
100.
a business is so much, starting a business, your own business is so stressful. So
Exactly.
by not having those pressures, like you said, you were able to still live at home and those kinds of things, it enabled you to have maybe a little bit less stress on those other areas.
Oh,
So,
100%. That's 100% correct. And this is just even going back to opening up our first shop. Uche used to work at Wet Republic, and that's a cash job, obviously. So opening up my first store, pretty much tips from Wet Republic helped that big time.
mhm.
Like paid for a lot of that stuff. So, it was, if we can get through opening up a business and getting it going and starting our life a little late, we literally can face everything, especially staying at home full time with a 2.5-year-old right now.
Well,
So,
and like you said, so if you've gone through hard times, and you guys started, like you said, you started in 2008, which was the Great Recession, right?
yep.
So you guys started when times were really tough. So you've
Yes.
already faced a huge adversity. So now that brings us to where we are today, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But
Sure.
you already touched on who your very first customers were, and they were, working for charities, and Neiman Marcus was a huge catalyst for your business. Would you say that your business has evolved since you first opened?
Oh, 100%. If you would have told me that I was going to have at least, I would say, 65 to 70% of my business be tea parties for little girls, I would have said, what? Like, I that's not what I first set out to do. I first set out to have a really cute girly bakery. However, I also feel like being successful, you need to see what's missing and fill that void.
Mm-hmm.
And in our city, there's all these cheesy places to do birthday parties. There's nothing where you get like such a quaint one-on-one interaction with somebody that actually cares about your child. It's not just get them out for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm so adamant on, especially being a mom of, a little one, a little daughter. I'm so adamant on giving these little girls like self-confidence and all this because it's just going to make our world a better place. So, you know, evolving to have a place where the kids can come do parties was not what I set out to do. So that definitely was something that evolved. And just along the way, random things that have come up with are just things to try and be innovative and, stay afloat in a situation in a town where a lot of things are getting bought online.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just, you have to. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, then, you're insane.
Yeah, and expect the same result, right? That's the
Right.
definition of insanity.
Mhm.
I can attest. I've never. Turtle is a little too big for tea parties. He's
Right.
15 and 6'4", but I
I
mean, he
know.
could probably be a character. Um,
Right.
but so I never got to experience that firsthand. But I can attest to having walked through Tivoli and stumbled across your tea party once, and I don't know, there must have been like 30 little girls, and they were probably like 4 and 5. And I know that the parents were having brunch at Ava's, and there was
Right.
a big picture, and there a big, like a big group picture, and then you were like, okay, parents, you go do this, I've got them. So the parents
Right.
were able to go, and the parents were like stoked. They were going to go have champagne brunch,
Right.
and the kids were taken care of for a few hours, and it was like great. They were like, oh, this is brilliant, we don't even have to be at the birthday party
Right. I
for
know.
the
I'm
most
telling you.
part. So it was wonderful. And I heard the parents afterwards, because I was walking through getting some candles. I saw that part, and then afterwards they were just raving. They were like, this is great, we got to be there, they're having a good time, and then we can have brunch and then just pick them up. It's great.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and it was all the
100%.
parents, so it was all the friends of the kids and everybody all together. So it was really cool to see that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I have done every single tea party, every single one. I've done every
Oh,
single. Now, mind you, I have assistants, or if we have a princess, then they're my assistant. But every single one I've done, only because I take it seriously. I'm
yeah,
not just going to have. I know that when parents trust me to have their kids, they would expect what I would expect, for
yeah.
my daughter. So no, they get me every time. Still.
I remember this was going back, but I remember your brother having to be Santa during the holidays,
Oh
and
yes.
that was wonderful. So I love it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's a trooper. He did that, and I know anytime I need the help, he's right there. Like, for instance, this year, my daughter loves the Grinch. So he put on the mask, wore the thing. She was freaking terrified for about 5 minutes, but then she was all about it. Now, is the Grinch gonna come back? Is the Grinch gonna? She has no idea. It's Uncle Wee Wee.
That is hysterical. Okay, so your business has evolved. It's taken many iterations. Where was your first like brick and mortar, and tell us about where it has been. And like you said, you started in a commercial kitchen, and then I know you've had multiple other like brick and mortar, so to speak. So take us through that evolution.
Sure. So we started at Tivoli Village, in a little area called the Market LV, which was designed for small business starter businesses to have small storefronts,
Hmm.
so that they can kind of get a taste of, because once you're brick and mortar, it's the real deal.
Hmm.
It's investment and all that sort of thing. So we did really well there. We were there for a couple years, and that's when um, my brother got approached from the Container Park, which is downtown.
Uh-huh.
And we were all over it because we definitely fit the mold with what they were looking for at first. They were
Uh-huh.
looking for, native Las Vegans, which we are. We're, I believe, fifth generation Las
Wow.
Vegans. Yeah, on my mom's side. And we liked it, and we knew it would work, and it did. It was really successful down there. And so at one point, I think for about a year and a half or 2 years, gosh, this would be a brother question, we had both locations. And then when we realized that, when our tea parties were such a huge part of our business, and the Container Park, it just wasn't right for that, we
Uh-huh.
decided to go down to one location, but a bigger location. And Tivoli Village just made more sense because that's where we've been. It's pretty much our home. We love it there, and it's close to where our core customer lives,
Yeah.
around that area. And it just made sense to have the bigger location, just one at that time. So that's where we are right now.
Okay. And so was it hard to make that decision? I mean, did you have a lot of traffic at Container Park, or is that seasonal? How does that, I mean, because it sounds great. And Tivoli by and large is a lot of walk through traffic, and it seems like it can be seasonal because in the summer months it's super hot.
Right.
And but again, a lot of your business now is tea parties and probably custom orders, I would venture to
Right.
guess, right?
Definitely. So I don't really think Las Vegas is the city where people just are super about community and walk around just like you would see in, for instance, like, places in Southern California and that sort of thing. It seems that people in Vegas, which I'm guilty of too,
Mhm.
okay, we drive to where we need to go in there and get out.
Yeah.
And I don't, I hope that changes, but that's just what it is right now. So with Container Park, it was a lot of tourists, which is
Okay.
great, but you had to kind of weigh, on one instance, we're selling a $3 cupcake, and then a tea party is X amount of dollars. So it's
Yeah,
kind
and
of
it's a one and done if they're a tourist. They're not a
right.
repeat customer for the most part.
Definitely. And as far as kids go, it was the same thing because parents would realize the parking's difficult. It's not like the safest area. So they'd come down maybe once or twice and then go somewhere else that's closer to home and they feel more comfortable with.
Yeah.
So it just it was great for that time in our business life. It just
Mhm.
wasn't the future.
Okay, that makes sense. Um, if I recall, right before all of COVID, coronavirus, all of this happened, you had a pretty big setback, if you will, when your Instagram account was hacked.
Yes.
And again, so you started in a recession. So you've had your Instagram account hacked, and you had a pretty large following and thousands of pictures of your work. So, can you explain a little bit about that? Like, what do you think happened? And then how you quickly had to find a solution, pivot, and move forward, because you can't look backwards, right?
Right. So it was a little bit of a gut punch, which I got mad at myself because of the fact that when I had Millie, I would, not save the pictures of my stuff. I would put them on Instagram because I was taking pictures of my daughter. So I would
Oh,
always refer to Instagram for pictures of, things that people needed to see, like my portfolio.
mm-hmm.
So I've learned a lesson with that, which I'm not going to do again. So I lost, I would say, at least 85% of my whole entire portfolio. And when you're a bakery, you depend on your portfolio for, people to see your work. But like I said, I let myself be down for a day. My husband has some connections with Facebook through his company and his clients that he's had to work with. And basically, they just were like, there's nothing you can really do with what happened to me. That does not happen to everybody that way. Some people this happens to and they can get everything back. But what happened with me is it got in there and then everything got wiped clean.
Ugh.
So, but what I did is, and I built that whole following without any sort of like PR company or anything that
It was all
helped me.
organic.
It was organic. However, what I've had to do is I've had to hire an Instagram PR company to help me, which that's what they're there for. So if I went from, I think, clicks on my new Instagram page from like I think it was like 200 views on your profile when I first started to now the other week, I actually screenshot it and sent it to Ash. And it was like, I think 8,000 had clicked on it.
Wow.
So it's worth it, especially, when starting from scratch, when I have all this other stuff going on, is not really what I wanted to do. But I had to. So it's not like the end of the world, which I originally thought, just because you depend on social media for everything, which is scary. But,
Yeah.
for businesses, if you don't have a social media presence, it's really difficult. So it was bad, and I had lots of I was so upset, and I was like, but then I'm like, okay, look, it's just Instagram. We can figure this out. And I haven't had any problems with even you, for example, people that are supporting saying this happened to her, follow her again. And so that's really helped. So that happened about, I think, a month ish ago. And
Uh-huh.
we've gotten back up to, I think, almost 15,000 or 1,500. So it's going to be a slow build, but it'll get there.
And you weren't able to get your handle back, correct? You had to create a whole new.
Everything new.
So, okay. And I have it up on the screen right now. It's at Cupcates by Kate, so
Yes.
that people can follow you please follow her. And I also showed when you were talking what your I showed a screenshot of your Instagram so that they can see some of your work.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Great.
uh, Obviously, in light of today's situation, your business has had to make drastic changes. You're very
Yes.
much, I would put you like in the restaurant category,
Yes.
where you can't do your tea parties in. You can't come in, and not that you have, just so the audience knows, if they've never been to Cupcakes, she doesn't have a huge, it's not like Freed's, for example. There's not a
Right.
huge case to choose from. Um, but that in some ways that's a good thing, because people, if they're a loyal customer, they know not to expect that. So they know they can say, hey, I'd like 2 dozen cookies and this is what I'm looking for, or I want this cake. Can I get that? Can they still do that? What are you doing, and how are you operating in today's environment currently as we speak?
So we it was really scary because we had when this first was coming out, I was not really buying into it. I was one of those. I was like, oh, whatever, this is not going to do anything. But then my brother, who works, in the health field, was like, no, this is going to happen. And I'm like, oh shoot. So within that first weekend, I had, I think, 10 tea parties cancel because the moms were starting to realize, oh, this is happening. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to panic. So, it's we still are doing all curbside and delivery, which is great. And my core customer has been so helpful with keeping the hope alive for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm trying to come up with things that kids can do at home to, help their parents have a little break. So we, through the help of my family, like Ash has been helpful, and, my brother and my parents and my husband, um, we came up with like the cookie kit and the cupcake kit, which
Mm-hmm.
I've already done, but it wasn't to this scale. So, you can get sparkly cookies with all the stuff you need to decorate them. Same with cupcakes. And then when I was thinking further into it, I'm like, these kids that I'm getting messages from their parents saying they miss Miss Kate. I'm like, okay, what can we do? So we came up with a tea party in a box, which is super fun. And it's pretty much what our drop-in tea is. It's just you're not with me at my store, you're at home. So the kit comes with 4 mini cupcakes with the frosting and the sprinkles to decorate them, a disposable, really adorable teacup with saucer, our pink tea in a little container with the glitter that they can add, which they do at the tea party, little crafts, and then at the end they always get glitter for their hair. So it comes with that, and it's just in a box, so it's something they can do. And we also have Party Ever After, which is a princess and actress company where they can do a Zoom call and even do their tea party with the princess of their choice. So that's been really great. And we've still stuck with, I've got some kiddos that I've done their birthday cakes for 8 years. And for instance, I have one this weekend where I'm doing her seventh birthday cake, and I've done it since she's had her smash cake. So I'm still
Oh,
getting, all of those things where people are supporting, and they just realize that I'm going to rely on them to get us through this. So we're
yeah.
going to keep coming up with ideas and different things for however long we have to be in here. But I also realize that when it's time to reopen, it might not just be full on tea parties every weekend. It might be a gradual opening.
Yeah.
So we're trying to come up with like social distancing party things that are going to be fun. Like I have something going on for our soft opening where I have a few different characters, but you have to pick which character and which time. So I can control the crowds. So it will just be, kind of learn as we go.
Okay. So you you have obviously so the whole series is paid. Pivot, adapt, innovate daily. You have done that like hourly, it sounds like.
You
You
got
had
to.
to change and come up with new things all the time. So that's fantastic. What do you see in the future for Cupcakes? Obviously, you never envisioned tea parties. You didn't envision multiple locations and things like that. But what's the future of Cupcakes look like if you I mean right now if you could see the future?
So I definitely am not going to hide underneath the bed and think that, oh, I'm just going to do everything the same.
Mm-hmm.
No. So I've already started thinking about how to make this company a more online business and a more grab and go type of business. So I have one client who is just so kind, and he was thinking, oh my gosh, what can I do to help her and help my clients? And they ordered the cookie kits to ship to, I believe it was like 50 of his clients all over the country.
That's
So
phenomenal.
yeah, and they ship great. It's a cool thing. I think that for at least for the near future, that a lot of parents are going to opt for things they can do with small groups at home,
Uh-huh.
at least until we have a vaccine for this, you know. So definitely doing that is important. And just, I know my brother was looking into going on to what it takes to be on the Amazon marketplace,
Uh-huh.
and I'm probably going to open up an Etsy shop just to
Yes.
do that as well. So we're going to just see what we can do to not just depend on people walking in, for sure.
You know, it's interesting. I was having a phone call with one of the top executives at our company, and we were talking about that it's going to be, oh, there you are. It's going to definitely be a more on the real estate side. You know, previously people would find a house online a lot of times, see a few pictures, then call their agent and then go view the property.
Yes.
So it would narrow it down a little bit, but not much. But going forward, and right now, there's a lot more virtual tours. There's a lot more of the even more than the virtual tours, there's like the dollhouse view, so you can see it from above. Like the technology is getting better and better so that it really narrows down what they need to see. And I don't see that stopping. I think that there's going to be a lot, the business is changing. I don't think that
Right.
it's not going to go back. This is our new normal, so to speak. And I don't even know if this is our new normal. I think it's going to
Right.
continue to evolve as we go forward. And so I think it's fantastic that you're already thinking ahead with the Amazon and Etsy. And how great is that you can expand your business, not just locally, so that
Right.
you can have, even if it's a regional presence or a national presence. That's fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
have you have you considered um, have you ever considered becoming a franchise?
You know, it's funny. I've had this conversation with a few customers. I have one customer, bless them, they're the sweetest family, and they are like, "Kate, we want to open one in LA. We want to open one in LA." And I'm like, "You know, I I just need to still have the quality
Control.
control where it's not like, you know, something where I can be like, okay, just do whatever, you know, and I just have put everything into this to where I don't feel comfortable yet just letting the reins loose and having someone change
Well, including
what.
your name. Your name is in it.
Right. So, you know, event maybe I guess I wouldn't be very smart if I said that's not something that I would like in the future, because obviously that's should be the end goal for most businesses. But right now I just don't see how that really makes sense, because I still do most of everything.
Yeah.
The decorating, and while I started giving up that just a little bit before this happened, and I have the best girl that is just great, and I've trained her, but it's not just like plopping frosting on a cupcake and selling, you know, 100 of the same cupcake a day. That's not what we are. We're
Mm-mm.
super custom and personalized, where it's a specific type of baker, and I would even say art cake artist or cupcake artist that would do what we do to what I think is our brand. So that would be the difficult part.
Exactly. And it's so funny because the girl that's in your shop, like she could almost be mistaken for you at first glance.
She's she's so much nicer than me. She's the
Ah,
best. I
that's
adore her. Yeah, her that's Amber. I have the greatest group of girls. We have Reese, who I love, and Malia. Malia also plays my Tiana and my Moana. And then Amber, who is just like my right hand for sure.
anybody that you have ever hired is always incredibly like sugary sweet. And
They
I think,
have to be.
yeah, I mean, you're dealing with kids and
Yes. You know, and it's like, I realize that people work hard for their money. So I want someone to come into my store and feel that we are so blessed and we are so thankful that they're choosing to spend their money with us.
Mhm.
So you're never going to come in there and feel like you were not treated like, you know, a fairy if you're a girl, or, you know, a prince if you're a boy. 100%.
Exactly. And speaking of boys and girls, how many boys actually come to the tea parties, and what do the boys think of it?
It's if they are okay with just walking through the door, that's the hardest part. Then they end up having a ball. We have boys all the time. Now, I will say we've only done a two out of the thousands of tea parties that we've done, only two have been a boy hosting them.
Okay.
However, brothers or, these little 5 and 6 year olds have best friends that are boys.
Yeah.
My best friends growing up were boys. So the boys will do it for the girls. And then once they get in there, they're fine. They're like a cupcake, tea, whatever, let's do it. So boys are fine as long as they're, it's getting them into the sparkly door. That's the
Yeah.
hard part.
Well, I think about when Turtle was little, my nieces are, Isabella and Sissy are
Yeah.
very close in age, and they would dress up. And so he wanted a costume. So we had to go out, and
Hmm.
it was harder then. They didn't have boy costumes. So we would go
Right.
out in like a night costume or a Ninja Turtle costume, something so he could play dress up with them because he was down for it. So
Right.
he totally would have been good going in there. I'm curious to see. And I think that it's wonderful that that it's boy inclusive. It should be inclusive for everybody.
Right.
So
100%.
yeah, and this is funny. He'll probably kill me for saying this on Facebook Live, but him and his best friend, when we were at Disneyland, they went to the Bippity Boppity Boutique
I
and
love
they
it.
got their hair done and makeup.
Done.
They had guy liner and they looked like disco balls by the time they came out. There was so much sparkle in their hair.
Listen, I'm all for it. Everyone was like, "Oh, I hope you have a girl. I hope you have a girl." And I'm like, "I don't care.
Yeah,
They're going to
because they're
like what I like."
yes, they're going to whether they like it or not.
Right.
Oh,
100%.
um, so you've touched on how incredibly hands-on you are.
Yes.
The only thing I know that you outsource is the invoices
Right.
to
Right.
Willie. But you're the owner, the operator, the baker, the designer. You do it all. But do you ever see yourself stepping back, like maybe as your family grows or as Millie gets older? And because I know I only have one child and
Mhm.
he takes a lot of time. As he's
Right.
gotten older, I shouldn't say he takes a lot of time. I choose to spend a lot of time with him. I don't ever want to miss a game. I don't ever want to miss the important moments. And that requires me to make sacrifices in some other areas.
Yeah.
So do you ever see you stepping back maybe as Millie gets older or if your family grows?
So, I was raised by a mom who is the best. She was a strong woman who worked,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what I know. That's what I don't know anything other than that. So it's kind of like a you can say positives and negatives for both. So
Yeah.
I put in a ton of hours. However, I'm, here when my daughter's babysitter gets here, she could, obviously not right now.
Yeah.
And then I would go to work, and then I was here before dinner to make dinner, to do bedtime, to do story, to play, then to restart it all over again. So I never thought of myself as someone that wouldn't work. So and it's also where if she has something, which I know she will because she loves dancing, she loves soccer, she's going to be, she loves all that stuff. Where I'm lucky because if I was working full time for somebody else, it might be hard to get the time to take off for that.
Yeah.
But for me, I just have to schedule around it and have one of my girls work. So
So
I
you
would
have
be
the
able to do both.
flexibility.
Exactly. Like we just signed her up for her preschool with if everything goes well, she'll be going there when school starts in August, and I'll be able to take her and pick her up. I'll be able to do all the mom things that I want to do while also keeping my professional career where I want it to be, hopefully, if,
Yeah.
all goes well.
That's awesome. I love that. And I feel very fortunate in my job that I have the flexibility. If I need to leave at 4 o'clock, well, when he was a freshman, his games were at 4 o'clock, so I could be there. And thankfully, I'm close. But
Right.
that didn't mean that when he was done, I didn't come back and work, or maybe I started my day extra early that day. So
Right.
again, like you said, just scheduling them in and making sure that we have that flexibility.
Oh, yes. And whether you have a son or a daughter, I think being just a a role model to show them that you have to do hard things and work and sacrifice to get all these things that you have.
Oh yeah.
So she already knows that, mommy goes to work. She goes to work with me sometimes. She when she plays in her kitchen in her room, she says it's her cupcake store. So
Oh.
she knows that, well, she doesn't know yet, but she's starting to understand that that's how we're going to raise her. You have
Mhm.
to work for things. That's just how life is.
Yeah, sadly, I always say I wasn't born into a trust fund family. I
No.
don't, I've been looking, I did 23andMe. I was hoping, that I'd
Right.
find my real parents, but my real parents are it.
Right, exactly. And you know what? We're better off that way
Isn't that the truth?
because I'm telling you, I see it with the minute, and I can only, see it through some of my husband's, people he works with, but the minute you get yourself into a huge chunk of money, no matter what you say, you
It
change.
you do. Yeah, I know
Mhm.
I would. I'd be really great. I'd be awesome
Right.
with a lot of
I know. I would just get whatever,
I said,
but
"Mom,
yeah,
why couldn't you name me Target? Why Chanel?
right.
Of all things, Chanel."
Right. Well, listen, Target will get you into more trouble than Chanel
Isn't
sometimes.
that the
That's for
truth?
sure.
That's the
Yes.
truth sometimes. Okay, if you had the opportunity to change one thing, whether it's when you started the business, now going forward, if you had the opportunity to change just one thing, what would it be and why?
Oh, geez. Well, that's such a good question because I 100% think that I would not have tried to do so much on my own. While I had, during the really crucial points, I had my dad, my parents. And
Hmm.
then when we were doing a couple stores, I had my brother there. But I still feel like and to this day, I try and do a lot on my own. Like sometimes I'm doing all this stuff, and my husband's like, why aren't you asking me to do something? Like, I can do something. And that part, I don't know what I'm trying to prove, but I'm admitting it. Like, I feel like I want to do all this stuff on my own. And it's to a detriment, I'm sure. But I would say I wouldn't put all of that pressure on myself, which I've
Hmm.
done. But that goes back to, my gosh, being in college and getting a B and going into like a tailspin. So it's like not
It's a
putting so much
personality
pressure.
thing.
It is 100%. And it's funny because it's a precursor for me. Like, for instance, with this whole PPP thing, when I call my brother, I'm like, okay, I understand I'm crazy, but da 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 da. So I know it's something I have to work on. And as I'm getting older, and when being a mom, you have to go with the flow. You cannot control everything, and
Hmm.
that's helping me. It's definitely helping me, but I that would be the one thing that I wouldn't have tried to prove to do all of this, a lot of it on my own.
Yeah, and I think I'm very much the same way. I'm very type A. I'm very structured. Nobody has higher expectations for me than me.
Right.
And when I became a mom, it magnified 100 times over. But as I think I've matured and gotten older, maybe I'm just tired. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe
No,
at
it's
40 you don't
true.
operate the same way you did at 30 or 25, but
Same.
sometimes you just have to you you can't be 100% at all areas of your life, and so
Right.
you have to figure out where can you be maybe 90%, and that's going to be good enough. and
Definitely.
um and I've and it ebbs and it flows. Maybe today I'm 90% at home and 100% at work, and maybe the next day it's the opposite. But I do think that there is a lot of value in learning things yourself as opposed to delegating it, because when you learn it, then you know it, and then you know
Exactly.
when it's not being done right.
Right.
At least for me. And I'm learning to delegate certain things that I don't need to know. In creating this channel, there was some things that I don't need to know. I don't need to be the best graphic designer. I don't
No.
need to know, but I did need to know how to set these things up so that I could run it myself.
Right.
So it's figuring out where the benefit in delegating lies and where the benefit in learning it yourself, because I was very much, I need to do everything. I need to have my hands on everything. I need to control everything. And it eventually it just becomes too much because your business only gets bigger, 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 bigger and expands.
Right.
So like you said, if you're doing Amazon and Etsy and all of these things and running your business once it opens back up and tea parties and you're how much can you possibly do it all? Because
100%.
there's only one of you.
Exactly.
So
No,
I think
you're right.
that's great advice to, not put so much pressure on yourself. Because I think a lot of us, especially moms or, working dads, we put too much pressure on ourselves.
Right. It's true.
And then I wanted to see, I know Mother's Day is around the corner, and I saw the funniest meme, and it says, Dads, your kids aren't in school, so they're not going to have a homemade Mother's Day gift
Right.
this year. So
true.
do you have anything that you're offering so that maybe if there's some people watching that haven't taken care of their moms, or, their mother-in-laws, or if they need something from their kids for their moms that you are doing?
Yes. So for the past couple of years, we called them our mama boxes. They're super cute. It's a half dozen cupcakes because we say mama still, you know. I think Mama's Day sounds more, I don't know, it just doesn't sound so formal than Mother's Day. So it's
Yeah.
our Mama's Day boxes. And like I said, it's a half dozen with a couple of the cupcakes have a fresh blush rose on them, which is super pretty. So the
Oh.
presentation is just really cute and they're so affordable, especially right now. That's so super important.
Mhm.
And we've done so well with them the past couple years. And then we also have our mama cookies, which you can purchase them by the half dozen or the dozen, and they're heart-shaped cookies that say mama in blush with a little flower design on them. They're super cute. So it's just like fun, sweet things that I think I would like to get. So that's what we try and think of.
And if you're social distancing, like for instance, we haven't been spending time um, together with my in-laws, but that's something that we could drop off. So
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and we also have delivery options available. But it's kind of cute to, be able to pick something up curbside and drop it at, your mom's door.
yeah, and I like that the cupcakes. It's kind of like giving them a sweet and some flowers.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's a 2 for.
Mhm.
All right. Well, is there anything else that I have Kate's information is on a banner on the screen. You guys can follow her on Instagram. Her phone number is there. Her email is there. Is there any way else that they can support you right now, Kate?
You know, I am such a firm, strong believer in like positivity and prayers. So I just think that if we're praying for each other, then we can all get through this. So if anybody's thinking, I have a little extra space in my prayer list, we'll take it.
That's right.
100%.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kate. You've been
Well,
wonderful to have on. You have been one of my favorite places to pick up treats from, whether it's
oh,
just
thank
because I
you.
need some really good sugar cookies or I want a cupcake or anything. So
Well, thank
um,
you.
I really strongly believe in locals supporting locals. And so we will continue to keep you in our prayers. We've had you in our prayers. And then also, I always like to end this segment by letting everyone know that, and I'll put it up on the screen, my contact information. I'm a sales and marketing consultant with WFG national title, in case you didn't know. And so if you are thinking of buying or selling any real estate, give me a call. I work with lots of agents across the valley that are fantastic. I can refer you to one of them. If you are thinking of refinancing your home, give me a call. I work with lenders. And when you refinance your home, even when you're buying and selling, you get to choose your title company. And that's what I am. So we have fantastic rates. You have even better service. And we would love to help you in that process. And then the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is next week we are going to have a local bar owner over on Water Street in downtown Henderson. So just another business owner who is going through it like we all are. And hopefully you've learned a few things from Kate, and that maybe you will inspire you or educate you, have educated you, because that's our goal, is to collaborate, educate, and inspire local business owners and people in our community. So thank you again, Kate, and
Thank you for having me.
see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.